I'm so
Oh, yeah.
intelligent.
And you're the more experienced one, right?
In what?
In years.
I'm senior. Thank you. And welcome to RBLE Global Tracks. It's Leipzig's very first RB Leipzig podcast in English. And it's brought to you by Richard and Mario. And amongst us, we are season ticket holders, passionate supporters, and not so neutral local pundits. And both of us have been following Leipzig football since our childhood days. So if you want to hear about RB Leipzig, capture the mood of the fans in the city, and if you want to go beyond numbers and statistics, you are in the right place. We're delighted to welcome you on board, and let's go. Auf geht's, Leipziger Jung. And before we start, I'd just like to extend to everyone who's been listening to this podcast. This is our 13th episode, lucky number 13, but it's Thursday, so we're okay. And we just like to extend anybody who's been following us, been discovering this little podcast. We truly enjoyed. And there will be more episodes. So it's not a threat. I hope it's a joy. Richard, how are you this
Hey,
evening?
Mario, thank you. I'm fine. It's Thanksgiving Day, although we do not celebrate this.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, we don't know what this
No,
is
we
over
don't.
here
We
in
don't.
Germany. Where's
We
my
don't
turkey,
celebrate
by
this,
the way?
but I've got this other little passion. So besides soccer, besides the
No, we don't want to talk about
let's
cheeseheads.
talk about
I
some
don't like the way.
cheeseheads. So I'm a big fan of the Green Bay Packers, and guess what? They're playing tonight, Thanksgiving football. They're
La
visiting the
di da di
Lions,
da di
and
da.
midway through fourth quarter now, Packers are up by 15. Okay, so I'm pretty good today.
Yeah, so you must be in an excellent mood, and I'll give you that. My team is in the same division, and we're not going to talk about them because they were the worst team of the NFL last year. Didn't help them much this year because they had last place. Hey, but they had 3 wins already. Come on. I
Yeah,
don't know
what is
if
like
that's
two
is better
more
than
than last
last year.
season?
Hey, there you go. What an improvement. Domination. Here we come. At some point in the future. It's going to be bright. Brilliant. So, Richard, after this little detour to the NFL, what the hell are we talking about today?
Okay, so there was an international break. There's some players on international duties. We take a look on that. We have some rumors, so not really news, but rumors around the club, around the players. So we're gonna look into that.
Yeah.
And finally, we're gonna preview a little bit to our next bread and butter encounter against the well-known Wolfsburg.
Yes, and hopefully you're going to tell us why it is going to be victory first this time, despite of our Pokal exit at Halloween. Wasn't it? It was spooky.
Yeah, it was Halloween night.
So let's talk about the international break. There were quite a few of our players on duty. So I suppose we're just going to maybe concentrate on the main important ones. I mean, the call up of our goalie to the Nationalmannschaft, the German Nationalmannschaft, that was excellent. We had 3 German players there. Unfortunately, he didn't play. Henrich's got some minutes, didn't he? And Raum wasn't used either. So the good news is, I think everybody's coming back well and healthy. So this is all I'm worried about. Let's not talk about the Nationalmannschaft because that's a different topic, and it'll come up in the future again, I'm sure. So who was really catching your eye, if that is an English expression? Who stood out for you during the international break?
For me, it was Chesko. So he scored against.
Because he's tall.
He's
Tall,
tall,
isn't it?
yeah.
That's why
He
he stood
cannot be
out. Yeah.
overseen when he's on the pitch, but he really stood out in that last international encounters because Slovenia had a must-win game against Kazakhstan. So okay, it's usually not really a challenge for the Slovenians when they take on the Kazakhstan squad. But if you want to finish first, you have to finish first, catching, and they didn't finish first, they finished second in their group, but that means with this 2-1, they are qualified for next year's Euro 2024 for the first time since the year 2000.
Wow.
I guess Chesko
Congratulations.
wasn't even born at that time. So for him, it's
but it was in color.
it
Wasn't even
was
black
in
and
color,
white.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah. Stereo
Stereo,
possibly as
maybe,
well. Dolby 5.1 surround,
and high
I
def,
think.
maybe. I don't
And
know.
high def.
Um,
Was it high def already?
2000, yeah, for the upper class, maybe. Yeah,
You're right. Yeah,
but
the elite.
so for Cesco,
Oh no.
it's a whole new feeling. He scored. He scored a penalty against Kazakhstan, and
Hmm.
they won 2-1. 2 goals to one. So yeah, as I said, they qualified, and we might see him next year in his living room, Red Bull Arena, or as it is called, Leipzig Stadium during the Euro. It doesn't. No,
Yeah, they should have gone back to Zentralstadion, but maybe that's
that
an
would have been
earful.
nice
Yeah,
if they would have
but
called it
but
the Zentralstadion for the Euro. Oh, that would have been cool. But unfortunately, they didn't.
but anyways, that would be great to see. If we're lucky, we might see him here in Leipzig, and he's actually at home. So congratulations, and note to myself: if we ever get stuck and we're looking for somebody to take penalties and to convert, Sheshko might be a good candidate as well. So there you go. So that's wonderful news. Who else caught your eye?
Yeah, of course, our Austrian heroes,
I know
the Austrian
it didn't
trio.
even hurt that much, did it?
No, it didn't. It didn't surprise me at all. But
Yeah.
one thing I was a little bit impressed. There was so I was not impressed by Baumgartner because you remember last episode when I was so fully confident that Baumgartner is ready for 90 minutes, and I'm still on that, and
Hmm.
he proved my point. So he didn't play 90 minutes in the Austrian encounters against Estonia and our, you know, maybe the
Nationalmannschaft.
11 best football players we got in the moment, and I'm sure about that. So, but I was really impressed about Seiwald. Okay, so
Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
our defensive midfield, Xaver Schlager and Seiwald, made 2 appearances in a row for Team Austria against Estonia, and they performed in that game well. Wasn't really a surprise because Estonia is one of the minor good association football countries in Europe, maybe in the world. But they played outstanding, in my opinion, against the Germans in that infamous 2-0. I read this is the new national holiday now in Austria. So right, okay, yeah. So
Another
yeah,
one.
the war is over now for more than 70 years. Okay, they thought about that for long enough, and now they have got another new national holiday. No, just kidding. It was in I read it at Postillon. You know Postillon. This is I don't know what's in English. It's a
Satire.
satire online
Like
newspaper. Okay,
yeah.
but anyway, Schlager and Seiwald, they were really, really good, and I would like to see them as a defensive midfield duo in shirts in red, red and white. No, in red and white. That what I would like to see.
It gives us a lot of hope, doesn't it? Because Saywald had some dodgy appearances, but then he improved, but he wasn't really featuring the squad in the last couple of games. And if you maybe think ahead of the African Cup of Nations when Haidara is going to be on duty, then it is fulfill. It gives me a lot of confidence and optimism that Schlager and Seiwald could be a really good duo. But I must admit as well, I saw some pictures and they featured Baumgartner, Schlager, and Seiwald, but they also featured Sabitzer and Leimer. And do you know what? Those five looked so familiar that you could not even be mad about or really angry about Austria beating the Nationalmannschaft so convincingly because these are players we're really used to. And I was thinking, the whole Red Bull development in Austria, around the world, and in Germany, does that really contribute to a much better Austrian football team? I mean, they have been improving in the last couple of years. And they're now playing an excellent and really attractive type of football. Mind you, with the head coach or the manager, Ralf Rangnick, I am not surprised. And it will be nice and it will be really attractive to see them here in Germany next year. Hopefully, they go quite far. And for today, we're not going to talk about the German team. I think this is for another day when we're a bit more optimistic. So let's stick with our boys. That's much better for RB Leipzig, our international group. So these two really stuck out, and thanks very much for that. I would love to move on to rumors now. So many rumors came out during the international break, and some of them are you really had to look twice or even three times I mean, first of all, Timo Werner. It's not about him getting a doner kebab on the Janale at Tames in his Ferrari and he doesn't know where to park. No, it's about him going back. First of all, it sounded like him going back to the Royal Island and to the capital, London. So I think there were rumors that Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Fulham were interested. And with Fulham, it was even a little bit more concrete. That at one point I thought I'm getting Schürrle vibes. I saw Schürrle again playing for Fulham. Then I thought, is Magath going to join? Oh no, maybe he's too old now. So this is something. But hey, the best thing was, and please do enlighten us, the rumor afterwards. This is the best rumor in this context.
Yeah. The newest rumor is Timo Werner is heading to Madrid. And
Come on, it's the
it's the
elite,
elite.
okay? Fußballgott. Where else should he
Yeah,
go?
of course. Yeah,
Apart from
you're right.
Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
maybe.
To one of the best clubs in the world with such great history, with such great efforts, great results in the recent years. So yeah, he's connected to Real Madrid. And at first I thought, okay, what is satire allowed to do? When I read that, so yeah, okay, now
I
yeah,
agree. I
it's
reacted in a similar
it's
way.
April 1st
Come on,
again.
can't be
No,
serious.
I checked
Get
the
it.
calendar. Now it's mid-November. Okay, so but then I took a little deeper look into that, and I thought, okay, maybe this makes sense because I recognize that Real Madrid usually acts with the two strikers, and now Vinicius Junior is injured, so out for I thought 2 to 3 months. So what I've read, and the other strikers is usually either Rodrigo or Joselu. So Joselu is a quite familiar name from the Bundesliga. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was in Wolfsburg or maybe in Frankfurt too.
I think with
Maybe,
Frankfurt as
maybe
well,
both. I don't
Eintracht.
remember exactly.
Mm.
But
Do forgive
as
us. We don't pay that much attention to
but
them.
yeah, but as far as I remember, he wasn't in the top tier. So in my confession to that. So back to Timo. If Real Madrid needs another striker alongside Rodrigo or alongside Rosel, or maybe just to mix things up a little bit, maybe this is not that far away from reality than I first thought. So I'm really looking forward. I'm really curious how this thing develops in the upcoming weeks, and maybe, maybe Timo joins Kroos at Real Madrid.
Oh yeah, we got Tony there. That's right. But would that ensure that he actually gets enough time on the pitch to show Mr. Nagelsmann that he is ready to join the superb Nationalmannschaft?
No, not really. So, in my opinion, this thing is gone for him.
It's about cash, isn't
Mm,
it? It's about money.
money and the reputation. Okay, you got Real Madrid in your
Yeah.
resume, and he's only 27 or 28 years old. He has got maybe 7 or 8 more years in the tank. So why not?
Well, maybe he surprises us all. But I still struggle to believe that he's going to join Real Madrid. But in some ways, I can actually picture it. But I don't really understand why we would let him go because anything can happen. Our squad is not that deep. I think maybe I got the wrong impression. And the source that I picked it up on was on Twitter was Transfer News Live, and that was distributed a couple of days ago. But there was also a question about would he be out on loan or permanent, and it almost seemed as if they were going for a permanent deal, which would really surprise me. I think we will see. It'll be an interesting development over the winter. Do you think he's going to feature more in the remaining games for this year in the Bundesliga and the two
No, I don't
Champions
think
League
so.
matches?
So to me, it's just,
No.
I said
Mm.
it earlier. I'm a Timo Werner believer, and I
Yeah,
would
me
wish
too.
that he would find himself back into that form that we saw from him before he left to Chelsea back in 2020. But it's right now he's clearly a striker number 4, and if he can go to Real
Mm.
Madrid and maybe is striker number 3 or maybe 2. So this is because I don't expect our front office to let him go permanently.
Mm. Okay.
So because if he if he imagine that he goes to Real Madrid, gets himself back into form that we already know from him, and then helps us next year. That would be a cool story, wouldn't we?
It would be bloody amazing. It's a bit like Xavi, who's loaned out to us. He helps us this year. Next year's back to PSG.
Now there were rumors too that he will that we
Oh, let's get into
okay,
that a little bit
okay.
later. But do you think Timo Werner thinks that he is actually made for a higher, better club, such as Real Madrid, with a better reputation than RB Leipzig?
I think I think every player, every professional football player on any
Good
pitch
answer.
thinks he's the best shit you can get for money. And you do have to have this mindset. Don't get me wrong. You do have to.
Yeah, but back it up with some real Leistung, as we say in German. No, be it the regular goal scorer and be on the pitch all the time. Convince your teammates that you should be in the
Yeah,
squad.
he would pretty likely
Um,
answer this to, "Okay, come on, coach, give me chances, give me playing time." If you don't,
because when I'm
you,
playing, I convert penalties. I score the winning goal in Gladbach. Then I get back pains, but it doesn't matter. I'm just, you know. Okay, I think this is going to be an interesting thing to watch. There were a couple of more rumors I'd like to talk about. One of which is Pete the Wall. Now, after our exit from the DFB Pokal, it's not so likely that he's going to be in the starting 11 unless something happens to Giannis, who is just so outstanding at the moment. So, what do you think? There were some rumors that, or something I heard that RB Leipzig would be open for him to leave this winter or in the summer. What do you think about that? Also, bear in mind that it seems like RB Leipzig is planning next season with Blaswich and Van der Voort. And actually, I would love to play a clip again, which I haven't found yet, because you were asking this. You mentioned you were racing this, that you would be surprised if Gulashi was still and Blaswich were still in the same team next year, next season. So, what are your thoughts about that? Is this something realistic that he might leave us in the winter, possibly?
no, I don't think so. Because the last thing I read about this topic is that Pete wants to compete. Maybe that's where his name come from. He wants to compete for the spot between the goalposts. So okay, he definitely knows that there's no way to overcome Giannis because of his outstanding performance in the recent weeks, months since he joined our goal. But I think he maybe thinks that with the start of the new season and Janis Blaswig, and you mentioned him, Van der Voort, who will join us from Genk, and himself are maybe he thinks there's an open competition for the number one spot and he wants to go
Mhm.
for it. And to me, there is my first realistic scenario I'm thinking about is what I said a few weeks ago that I cannot imagine that Pete is on our roster next season. But
Mhm.
there's a little but. If he is capable to show the coaches, the front office, that he is better than Van der Voort, or maybe Van der Voort is not Bundesliga ready yet. So there might be a scenario where you go into the season with Blaswich as our number one, Pete as number two, and Van der Voort is out on loan somewhere else where he can gain some time on the pitch.
Okay, interesting scenario. I think we would just have to wait and see. But it's interesting that this does come up right now. One more thing you'd like to talk about is a last rumor about a potential new player. Who is that?
Yeah, so with Emil on the doorstep, heading to New York, there is a rumor.
And nobody has confirmed that
No,
officially. And there was a clip on social media when he was watching was it the Stockholm NHL series? And so he was watching a hockey game in Stockholm, and he was asked about this rumor that he's about to leave RB Leipzig. He was asked about that, and he said he wouldn't make any comments. Basically, he loves the club, he loves the city, and that's that. So basically, nothing. So sorry. So who would possibly potentially replace him, and when?
yeah, there was a rumor that Brian Zaragoza from Granada, from La Liga, could join RBL. So we are not
Hmm.
alone in this competition for this player. And I honestly, I didn't know that name before I read it first on X Twitter a few days ago. But
Hmm.
and I didn't saw any highlight reel. But I checked some stats, and I thought, okay, this is interesting stats this young man has, because he seems to be a very prolific dribbler. So with the ball to his
Hmm.
feet, he has outstanding numbers in take-ons during 90 minutes and successful take-ons. But on the other hand side, he seems to really struggle with prolific passes. So it's kind of weird. I don't know how to sort this out. Yeah, because it's so I don't know how to express that. It's so polarized. So he's a very talented dribbler, but seems to be a poor passer. Maybe this is because of the Granada playing style. Maybe this is because this squad doesn't have the ball that often, so that he is not simply not capable to show what he's able to do with the ball when he passes to other players. But maybe this also means that he's somehow egoistic player. That if you've got the ball, he uh, doesn't able to see or isn't able to see anyone around him and try to go for himself. I don't know. We have to, or at least I have to check some tape to clarify my opinion about that a little more. But anyway, it seems to be an interesting option. And you know what's a funny thing is, every time when there's a rumor that RB Leipzig is about to sign some player, it only takes a
Mm.
few hours, and you read that Borussia Dortmund is on the heels from that specific
It's
player
also in
too.
the frame. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I kind of picked up on that because for a while there was only news about RB Leipzig being interested, and all of a sudden,
It's like,
Borussia
yeah, it's like
Dortmund.
Punxsutawney
Tough.
Phil every time. So to everyone out there who doesn't know who Punxsutawney Phil is, it's that little, I don't know what's this to call it in English. That little animal that sees his shadow, and if he sees his shadow, there will be 6 more weeks of winter. And you all know this famous movie with yeah,
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. All right.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
So every time.
I thanks for reminding me. Anyway, moving on. By the way, his exit clause I think is 14 million euros. 14. So it's quite cheap, isn't it? For
Maybe.
now. Maybe. Okay. Shall we talk about VfL Wolfsburg? Seems like we just talked about them.
Introducing our next opponent, their ignorant check.
Now, Richard, tell me, and do give me some hope. Why are we going to beat them this time? Why are we going to get 3 points? Because what happened was we exited from the Pokal in, in a very gormless fashion, I almost said, in a very strange way. And okay, we lost, can happen. But it didn't seem like there was a lot of fight. And those matches Wolfsburg had afterwards, I think they lost everything, didn't they?
No, they had one
And
draw,
performed
two all
really.
draw against Bremen, and then they lost
Oh,
0-4
okay.
nil,
Okay.
4-0 defeat against Mönchengladbach.
So a lot of people asked on Twitter, ex Twitter, why the heck did we lose to them? Especially now with Bayern out. Why the hell? So do give us some optimism and confidence. Why we're going to beat them this time?
Okay, no problem. So first of all, a few players in that cup match didn't have their best day. Okay, so we had Pete in between the goalposts. It wasn't his fault on this goal he conceded, to make this clear. So from my point of view, but he definitely didn't have his best day, and so it was a lot of other players from us that simply just didn't reach 100%. I don't know why that happened, but it was clear and obvious. So Timo Werner was in the starting 11. He won't be there this time. I'm pretty sure about that. Paulsen had a use
Hmm.
day, and he was sent off midway early in the second half.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so we had
remember.
to finish this game with one man sent off. That wasn't easier, and we were lacking of
Mm.
creativity and ideas because we played not that bad, in my opinion, until the penalty box, but then just didn't get any shots. So this
Mm.
time is going to be a whole different thing because as we talked about Schlager and Seibald, and in my opinion, those two have to start and will
Hmm.
transfer their outstanding performances from the international team to our club. Xavi, who
Good.
just had
Mm.
some I don't know, part-time actions against Gibraltar, and I don't know what the other game was. So all I recognized, he wasn't on the pitch that long. So we are rested. So we didn't have really a game just a few days ago. Our team is rested, and we're
Mhm.
gonna send out our very, very best players in that encounter. So
Okay. Is there going to be a different tactics, different formation, maybe different
I
attitude?
expect Rose will send out 4 defenders because we talked about that a lot. This is what he likes to do. And then 2 defensive backs, 2 offensive, no, not defensive backs, defensive midfielders, 2 offensive midfielders, and 2 strikers. But I will reveal my starting 11 a little bit later.
Mhm.
I would like to point out something else about our opponent. So we talked about them before our cup match, and I thought, okay, Kovac will play like that, and Kovac will send out that squad, and so on. But it turned out that this starting 11 and the approach that Coach Kovac does for Wolfsburg, it feels like a jamboree bag. So you don't know what he will do for the next game. So he started with back 3
Mhm.
defenders, with the back 4 defenders, a lot of rotation, and that is so Wolfsburg supporters do not understand what Kovac is trying here. It seems like he is somehow lost how to get his
Mhm.
team on track, and the results in the last 5 games shows this. So besides that cup win against us, they lost 4 of their last 5 encounters.
Can I ask can I ask you a
Yes, please.
question? So do you think beating RB Leipzig in the cup tie was just a coincidence? Was just a
Yeah,
lucky
this is
punch?
what I want to talk about. It was
Oh,
an
okay.
outlier.
I'm so
Oh yeah.
intelligent.
And you're the more experienced one, right?
In what?
In years.
I'm senior, thank you.
So,
Uh,
I
I'm not a pensioner yet.
but one thing was always clear, and now I will talk about our keys to win. Their left defensive side is their weak side. Okay, so on the right
Mhm.
side, there's always number 21, Joachim Mehle, a nice transfer from Atlanta. We talked about him in our last preview too. He's a really strong dribble, strong passer too. His good vision often finds the open man for dangerous attacks, and he's besides of that, he's a strong defender too on his right side. And alongside him, there's often number 4, Maxence Lacroix, who was suspended, or he wasn't there against Gladbach because of red card suspension he
Mhm.
got against Bremen. Now he will be back. So, and usually Mele goes on the right side, and next to him in the center backfield, it's Maxence Lacroix, and this is the strong side. So, on the left side, he always finds. Let me look. I have a note. Yeah, number 16 Rogero, or number 8 Caso, or number 5 Seisiger. The last one is an center defenders center defender. So it is not his preferred position if you have to defend. Does his duties on the left side, and if you attack
Mhm.
this side with tempo. So and Bremen did this, and Gladbach did this. So 4 of their last 6 goals they conceded came over their left defensive side. So attack this side, and this is our side with Hendricks and usually Xavi
Mhm.
and sometimes Openda. Yeah,
Sounds good. I mean, sounds very
yeah, I
optimistic.
am. I am.
Like a good weapon. Why didn't we do this a couple of weeks ago?
Because we had a different approach, in my opinion. We had
Okay.
Paulsen
Mhm.
and Endo Panda, and I thought Marco Rose tried to play more over the middle of the field of the pitch. So balls
Okay.
Paulsen, and Paulsen just hang on to it, look for the next one, and then go for it. So slightly more in the center of the field. And I think it would be smarter if we trying to go for our goals a little bit more over the open lanes, especially on the right side. Okay, so yeah, this is a
And
key to win, in my opinion.
what about Wolfsburg? I mean, their playing style is usually not so bad. They seem to have good movement through midfield. But what's happening in the last quarter? Are they losing interest and are not being creative?
Mm, in my opinion, is not a lack of creativity. It's a lack of quality. So
Mhm.
this is not a bad Bundesliga team. I think they should have more points than they have got to this point of the season. But with every pass more they have to play, with every decision more they have to make, this is every time a moment for error. So, and that is
Mhm.
what I saw of them. So they play like 4, 5, 6, 7 passes that are okay, that are progressive into the direction of their opponent's goal. But if they have to be decisive, they're not.
Okay.
So, but the,
So
let me point out. So one or two more players we have to keep an eye on. Yeah,
okay.
it's number 23. It's Jonas Wind. We talked about him
Mhm.
too
Like
before the
yeah.
cup game. So this is their prolific. No, this is not English, but most prolific goal scorer. He had 8 goals of their 15, but
Mhm.
6 of them came in the first 6 games, and since then he struggled a little bit. And yeah, bear in mind, as I said, 15 goals, he got 8. So Wolfsburg just are struggling scoring goals. So usually number 21, number 23, Jonas Wind is the only one that is able to score goals. So, but in the
Mhm.
recent weeks, um, another player catched my eye. I didn't have him on my screen. Can I say this in English? I don't know.
Wasn't on your he wasn't on your
Oh, okay,
radar.
I like that. It wasn't on my radar. It's number 40, Kevin Paredes or Paredes. I don't know. It's a 20-year-old from Atlanta, USA, and he's in a really ascending form in the recent weeks. So he's one of the better players in their 0-4 defeat against Gladbach. And he is usually in the midfield on the right side. And number 40, keep an eye on him. I think there's a very, very high upside in his talent.
That's going to be interesting.
Let's wrap things up.
So, are we ready for your starting 11, Coach
Okay, let's
Richard?
go.
Liebe Fußballfans, wir kommen jetzt zu unserer heutigen Mannschaftsaufstellung.
So, Blaswig, of course, will be our goalkeeper. We have to send out our best 4 defenders. They are healthy. Heinrichs, Simakan, Lukeba, and Raum.
Mhm.
I said it 2 times before. I want to see, and we have to see Schlager and Seiwald in our defensive midfield. Baumgartner, of course, has to start. He had an outstanding performance against Germany. Alongside him,
They must be so confident, you
of
know.
course.
Mhm.
Alongside him, of course, Xavi. And this time, I think Yusuf need to get a break. I want to see Shesko and Openda in our first row.
Yeah. Especially with Shesko and these positive matches he had during the international break. Well, let's see. Let's keep our fingers crossed. In terms of score prediction, what is your
3-0.
prediction?
We're going to steamroll them 3-0.
Okay. I'm going with a 2-1 win for RB Leipzig. Don't know why. It's just 2-1 this time. Hey, 3 points are 3 points.
And a win is a win.
That would be awesome. A win is ka-ching! Richard, it's been a pleasure. I know we had a week break. It felt really long, but everybody else, thank you very much for listening to us. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Twitter. We are RBLE Global Tracks at podcast_RBL. You can also drop us an email at talktous@rbleglobaltracks.com. And to everyone, we wish you a very good weekend. Our next recording will be beginning of next week because then there's going to be this clash with this noisy neighbor City team. We're just hoping we're going to get through without Haaland scoring, maybe. That would be a first. Thank you, everyone. And auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs.